This reference,
This painting.
let's do it in gouache.
My name is Daniel. I'm the owner and founder of the Rembrandt School of Arts.
And my name is Lonnie, and I'm going to be your co-host.
Let's talk about how we're going to do this.
Yeah.
So initially we did this as a demo, and I think before we even get into it, the number one mistake that everybody makes is they add way too much water to their paint.
Yeah, you don't want it to become watercolor.
That's exactly right.
Because it's not going to anyways. It's just going to be annoying to work with.
So you want tiny amounts of water.
Yeah,
just
you need
enough.
just enough.
To
Yeah.
what consistency?
Melted ice cream.
So the reason why I think gouache works is because it's kind of a mix between watercolor and oils.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very interesting combo of watercolor, acrylic, oil, just kind of like has properties of all of them just put in one.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
That right there, Lonnie, 1,000 times better than any paper. You can add piles and piles and piles of paint to it. It won't warp or buckle. This right here is, in my opinion, the best tray to work off of. It's called a butcher's tray. You can get it at any art supply store. We also have them here at the studio if you're local. Artist tape, titanium white, extra large. Cadmium yellow light, yellow ochre. Cadmium red light, quin violet, cerulean blue, ultramarine blue, ivory black. What can you tell us about this palette?
Just a great palette.
I think you know enough to explain it.
So you got your white, got your black, your yellows, your reds, and your blues.
And basically you have a warm and a cool of each primary.
Yep.
So this palette, I would argue, makes 95% of your colors.
Yeah.
1-inch watercolor brush, size 8 round synthetic, size 6 black velvet, size 4 flat, size 1 round, size 0 round, and everyone's favorite, a mop brush.
Got some cotton swabs.
That's right.
Is this your answer to everything?
Pretty much. It really works in almost all mediums so long as the paint is wet.
Yeah.
Krylon fine art fixative napkins. And last but not least, a simple jar for our water.
Yeah.
Okay, Lonnie, so what are we painting?
It just looks so much fun seeing you slam it down. I wanted to too. Like a tree? Why not paint a tree?
I agree.
So I've completed this painting.
You did a damn good job.
Thank you.
I'm very impressed.
Thanks.
I especially love how you handled your warms and cools.
Thank you. Yeah, I paid a lot of attention to that.
You clearly understand color relationship. And I also love how you didn't get into detail.
Yeah, I kept it nice and simple.
Yep.
And if you'll see in the video, it kind of looks not like my hand or my voice.
It looks like somebody else's hands and voice.
Trust me, it's me.
I mean, when you're working with gouache, you never want to get too dark, especially with a pencil, but just a simple outline to just get your general design. I've got my eyes squinted really tightly, and there's no leaves, nothing else exists except for the core shape. Otherwise, you'll just go nuts trying to draw this. You want to get into the habit of painting and drawing as if you're looking through a camera and you're just slowly more and more into focus, where the big shapes start to come in, then the medium shapes, right? Yeah. Then the small, and then the tiny shapes. I've never seen it successfully done the other way, where you stick the details on. What ends up happening is you stick the details on and then you have these horrible gaps. That's a real challenge for a lot of people, myself included. I love detail. When to bring it in, and that's usually at the end. It means that you kind of put up with some discomfort in the beginning, you know, because you're gonna want to, but it's probably a bad idea. So now we're gonna block in form. In gouache, you want to use as little water as you can get away with. Some real deep color. And at first, you're just thinking in terms of large masses. Two things I should mention. I'm going with a warmer blue so that it lands somewhere between the red hot colors here and the super cold greens here. So a warmer blue makes sense, it'll contrast more. And then the other thing that I think is really important to note is the idea is to move from things that are furthest away to things that are closest. This is still a landscape, even though it's an up close image or maybe even a portrait of a tree. It still follows the rules of landscapes, where you want to get your background, then your midground, and then your foreground. Because of that factor of depth, you're painting something that has a great deal of depth. So if something doesn't have that much depth, then you're fine just, say, attacking the face or the figure and then painting the background around it. The primary color that I see for that branch is really red. I am going to add yellow and then some black. And by the way, this is layer 1, right? So layer 2, you're going to get heavier and heavier as you go. There's so much going on with the colors of the branches, right? Because some of it's in cool light, some of it's in direct light. I'm seeing a lot of light yellow, reds, and that light area, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of a dark color for how light it gets, but it's certainly something that I want to get in there. Just kind of hinting at that. There's some stuff that kind of lands on top of leaves, but
Right.
first the leaves, right? Easy to say, oh, well, let me get these big shapes in here, right? But what we want is to remove everything that is closest to us and think about what's sitting behind it.
Okay.
Well, I honestly see almost basically yellow with maybe a tinge of green in there, but essentially yellow is the main color. So I even got a tiny touch of white that kind of lives all behind here. I think what's difficult about painting this way is that it feels very almost childish, right? It's very like, you're just kind of blocking stuff in, almost like a kid would do it. But this is a very deliberate method. Now with gouache, you can layer just like what I did. But the only thing is that if you press too hard, you reactivate the layer underneath. You don't want to press real hard because then things are going to blend. So I'm just looking to see, well, where's all this yellow, right?
How fast does it dry?
I mean, that's pretty much dry right there.
Okay, so it dries fast, but
So you're looking at
put
minutes.
the next one on, and even if it's dry, it's gonna, you press.
Yeah, you're going to reactivate it. That's
Got
right.
it.
That's right. I mean, to some extent, the same thing happens when you're painting in watercolor.
Yeah.
Just a quick side note, I want you guys to know that I have a PDF here which describes the very palette that I'm using in this tutorial. This palette is broken up into a number of different sub palettes, as well as the color wheel that I explain and the notes from the color theory workshop, which we often have here. Almost every student comes across this when they come in through the doors of our studio, and I want you guys to have it. So if you'd like that information, all you need to do is just click on the link in the description. Hope you guys pick this up. Now back to the video. So I'm at a place where I can start to really slow down and get into some detail here. The most common mistake among colors, it's about the relationship of colors, not about matching them. That this is a cool color,
That
this
they
is a
work
warm color.
together, right.
You know, that color complements this color, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because you'll make yourself crazy.
Yeah.
Trying to match. I mean, I'll still hold up my brush to see, am I even close? But
Right.
I'm more concerned about the color relationships.
Or these special kind of brushes.
Well, believe it or not, the brush that I have in my hand is an oil brush.
I also like the way you're just going from top to bottom to side.
Very important that
whatever.
you develop a painting by going around the piece. There's like 1,000 different color greens in here too, which is really wild. If it stands out when your eyes are squinted, it's probably something important, right? But if it disappears when your eyes are squinting, it's most likely something you want to ignore. This is where you slow down and really kind of pick and choose your lights and darks, your details. This is where I think, this is what everybody wants to do up front. And this is where you get to really choke the brush and treat it like a pencil. At this point, I'm treating it more like a drawing. Well, okay, what does it look like when you squint though? Dark spots, right? So I'm gonna paint dark spots. It's too much. It'll overwhelm the eye. Do you wanna make a painting or do you wanna make a documentary? Already enough just to manage at minimum the basics, right? Why make it any more complicated? Why would I go any further with that and push even more detail? And I'm just trying to be as obedient as I can to the light pattern. For me, it's better to paint something loose and then tighten it than the other way around. Start loose and then tighten if you need to. Okay, so we're not quite done with this yet. There's a little bit more rendering that I want to do and start to pull out some of the details and manage the form. But the basic concept is down. I've got a lot of the color that I need. I think my warms and cools are reading well, but we might push that a little bit. But I always give myself a little bit of time before I finalize a drawing or a painting. I think one of the biggest mistakes that most artists do is they try to do it all in one breath. Obviously, when you're painting outdoors, you kind of need to. But I personally find that the finishing touches should be done after you've given it an extended amount of thought. So I try to do it at minimum an hour later, if not a day later. So this is one day. I'm going to spray it with a little bit of fixative so that I'm not picking up the color from behind. And once that's done, I'm going to rework some of the parts and walk you guys through that, and I'll show you how the finishing looks. Hope you enjoy it. So the first thing I'm going to do is introduce my lightest colors, and that's something that I didn't emphasize quite enough. By doing this, it helps me get a better understanding of my darks, as the lights being added are going to indicate those stronger darks. They're going to push them. So I'm trying really hard to stay focused on where these lights actually belong. And just a quick side note, in many of my videos I talk a lot about light logic, and there's one in particular regarding form, which I highly recommend watching. So having popped in most of my lights, I'm ready to add some of my reflective light. Now what this is soft diffuse lighting that's coming in from the side. It's got a little bit of a purple tinge, a little bit of that sky color, which is great. It's really going to give it a very realistic feel as a result. This warm and cool light helps to explain to the eye that you're looking at both direct and diffused light casting upon these branches and this tree trunk. Let's now push some of these darker greens. Now, the reason why my colors aren't mixing is because, as I said earlier, I used fixative. So there's a thin layer of almost like an acrylic, see-through acrylic, that is not allowing for the colors to mix together, which for me is fantastic as I work through layers, because I don't want it to mix in with the color that's behind it. There's a lot of these rich details that I'm going to continue to add, which are some of these darker leaves, and it indicates a lot of backlighting, and I definitely want to show that. Now I'm being very careful not to overwhelm the eye. I don't want to add so much of these darker leaves that it feels overwhelming. So I have to be very vigilant about stepping back and looking to see, is this overwhelming or not? Having taken a step back, it definitely needs more of that heat. I'm going to keep adding it until it really feels like a nice strong balance between my warms and cools. That's the key to a painting like this, and almost any painting that involves color. So at this point I realize everything looks good, and I can definitely push those cool tones that are coming in from the diffused lighting. And as you can see, I'm adding almost a straight cold blue. It's a brownish blue, but it's like a cold blue that indicates all of that soft lighting, and I'm really pushing it even harder. So by doing that, it'll really make it feel like the air is coming through. It'll really make it feel like there's a roundness to the form, so that I have these beautiful value transitions as well as a sense of balance between my hot and cold colors. There are these yellow leaves in front that I think need to be addressed, so I'm going to pop those in. And they're deeper, richer yellow green. So they land in shadow, and I don't want to make them too light. So I intentionally make them a little darker, and notice how your eye pops right onto them. And it's those final details that I feel like everybody wants to put in the beginning that really you need to wait and just be disciplined about. The first thing you see might be the last thing you want to paint. So let's come in with a little bit of a brighter pinch of color. These are warm yellows. They've got a little bit of that yellow ochre in there, and using the yellow ochre, I'm really starting to push some warmth to it. So this kind of coloring that's coming in is really the final stages, so that it's a warm green, or rather a warm yellow. I'm also seeing some really great cool green colors that again sit in front, and they obscure, they're intrusive, right? They interrupt some of the painting underneath, and a lot of people kind of will avoid that. They don't want to cover up what they've already painted, but that's key, especially to indicate the kind of depth that we're looking to get. So looking back and forth between the reference image and the painting, what I'm noticing is that I definitely need a little bit more of these pops of yellow to really push through and make it feel like this light is piercing right through the leaves. Now let's go back to that bottom corner and get a little bit darker. I learned this technique actually from Rembrandt. He loved to vignette his corners. And so whenever I get a chance to, I try to push the darks in the corners. And that way I'm shoving your eye towards the center of the painting. Now, I added more green, which means what? We need to add more red, because it's constantly a seesaw. Always remember that. You're constantly balancing your colors. So I'm going to hit it with a lot more red at this point. I'm going to throw in a few extra branches here, and at that point I think I'm ready to call it quits. I've got a nice rich range of values, colors, edges, tones. Everything that I need in a painting is there for it to work. And now for the best part of all, the reveal. We took some complex stuff.
Yeah, okay, trees
and
are so
choose.
complex.
That's
and
right.
I feel like they're so hard to do without going way into detail on.
Yeah.
Because you want to paint well, I do.
Yeah.
You want to paint every little leaf, you want to paint every little branch, every little everything, but it doesn't turn out.
Yep. So there's a part of me, Lonnie, that wants to keep working it.
Yeah.
Even though it's meant as just a study.
Yeah. I do really like it though.
I do too.
I feel like it has all it needs.
It's got a lot of charm.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So working on these small little panels, this is what, 8 by 10 inches?
Yep.
This is all made by Ampersand, and their Aquabord is the series that you want, which actually is a clay. It's a clay surface.
Yeah.
it just,
But yeah, which helps it
Yeah.
absorb.
yep. So you guys have some homework to do.
Exactly.
Hope you enjoyed this video.
Yep.
Drop us a like, comment.
Yeah.
We'll see you in the next one.
See ya.
And go out and get
Get a tree, plant it in your yard. Take a picture. Wait for it to grow if it's small. Take a picture of it and then try out this.
I think it's good. I guess all we have is our outro.
Yeah. Thanks
Right.
for watching. Bye.